Ladies and gentlemen, American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show. As always, we're sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Well, the top story is yesterday's impeachment inquiry. And folks, this was crazy. And I am blown away at what the Democrats tried to do. I'm blown away at how the media covered this. And I'm blown away by all of it. Now, here is my take. Yesterday, Comer's committee, the Oversight Committee, decided to begin the impeachment inquiry with specialists. I wish they would have never called Turley, but they did call Turley, who doesn't think right now articles of impeachment should happen, but the impeachment inquiry is okay. And these other experts on cyber investigations. Now, the idea behind this, which I get on the first day, was to basically defend the Oversight Committee, and that based on the information that they have, experts involved in the investigation of this information would say this is definitely warranted to have further investigation. Well, the media acts like, well, they didn't call fact witnesses. It's one freaking day. And this is what these crazy lunatic Democrats on this committee made this. They attacked Turley because he supported polygamy. They focused on the government shutdown. They focused on Trump supporters. The things that came out of their mouths were insane. There's no evidence, they say, no evidence. Yesterday, the Republicans on that committee presented to these experts texts, emails, deposition transcripts, hearing transcripts, testimony from these fact witnesses, on and on, bank statements. It was great. At one point, Comer said, can the member from so-and-so not read a bank statement, a text, and an email? I mean, as I said on a Facebook Live yesterday, you could have a house burning down. This is a different example I'm using. A house burning down, flames. The Democratic members of the committee could be watching this house in full flames and the fire burning, the house disintegrating. And the Democrats could sit there and say, I don't think that this house is going to be a total loss. I mean, it doesn't matter. And the reason why they say these shameless things in the face of anything is because the way the media does it. Neil Cavuto on Fox News begins his broadcast by saying, well, this didn't go really well for the... They just ignore the evidence. And the evidence is got, and Joe Biden is toast. And I mean, he's toast in a big way. So the impeachment inquiry, in my opinion, got off to a great start. And it's not going to end. And Joe Biden is toast. Joe Biden is clearly a crook, a traitor. Clearly. And when they say, well, there's no connection to Joe, how much evidence do you freaking need? How much evidence do you freaking need? I mean, it's unbelievable. Military pride was saved by Republicans voting with Democrats to allow military pride events continue in the military. Effed up. California protects. Newsom signed a bill that allows California doctors to mail abortion pills any place in the country without ramifications to them. Well, I don't know what other state law is, Gavin. We'll see about that. Shush up at a climate thing. Doesn't he look like Count Dracula? I mean, he shushed somebody who was protesting and said he'd see him right afterwards. To kill him? He's a freaking senile old bastard, he is. Youngkin is being recruited by the Bushites. See, they failed with DeSantis. So now they're going to try to recruit Youngkin. Really? I got to ask you a question. Does anybody think Youngkin or anyone else entering the race, all the Trump supporters are going to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to leave Trump. I'm for Youngkin now. None. Gaetz and McCarthy war continues through their surrogates who are blasting each of them. It's getting nasty as hell. Trump versus Steele. Trump is suing Christopher Steele, the dossier architect. We'll see where it goes. I want my phone. Can't make this one up, Josh Wentz. A looter in Philadelphia. And this looting at Lululemon, Apple Store, and whatnot is insanity. And guess what? Guess what is? They're juveniles. Hundreds of juveniles. Why? Because the juvenile law applies. They have recruited the juveniles. I called this. Anyway, a woman goes back to the store where she looted, demanding her phone that she left and fighting with them. That's where we are in this crap. Meanwhile, somebody named Meatball is getting supported by some black leadership with her mugshot. Meatball, look at Meatball. Looks like an upstanding citizen, doesn't she? No, not because she's a black woman, because her name's Meatball and she's a looter. Meatball needs to be smashed. No more Meatball. The border. Elon Musk went down the border, and I love it. He wore a cowboy hat to see for himself all the crap going on. You know what? Elon Musk is a very important person. I think I want to make this a video cut too. Elon Musk is in our country right now for the following reasons. He does some business in China. He's considered probably an old school liberal, leans moderate. He bought X. He's in space exploration. He's into auto manufacturing. So he's at the forefront of the electrical car, earth, minerals, and everything else. You and I don't agree with everything he says and does, but his positions on things like the border, the economy, Joe Biden, free speech, AI, which he's been involved in, are so far removed from the loony bins that if you're talking about having a influential billionaire, powerful person that you can play ball with some, it's Musk. And I hope he continues to use his position to help us, because he isn't perfect, but he sure is far better than the other guys. 219 people were arrested as human traffickers. Folks, slavery ended a long time ago in countries like the United States and Europe and whatnot. Human trafficking is a diabolical form of slavery, modern day. Anyone who participates in the buying, selling, and abuse of human beings should get the freaking death penalty. Josh, Josh, can you imagine, and I know some people get mad at my examples that I use because I actually use me even. Can you imagine, Josh, what would our conscience, you and me, because we're like typical American dudes, how would our conscience have to be lost, Josh, for you and I to participate in any way, shape, or form with information, transportation, purchasing, connecting humans with freaking abusers of those humans? How do you lose your soul?
That's what it is.
How do you participate in that? You got to be soulless. It's unfreaking believable. James Comer has subpoenaed the bank records of Jim and Hunter. I don't know why he doesn't old Joe either. But here's what's great about these bank records is they ain't changing. They're not changing. And the scheme that they've laid out is just off the charts. West Virginia is the state, doesn't shock me, the state that suffers the most from smoking. And folks, I'm going to do a health video soon. And that health video, smoking is the worst thing you can do. You got smoking, alcohol, and obesity. are the three worst things you can do for your health. Smoking is the worst. West Virginia has got the highest. Kentucky's right up there. The reason why this is so bad is the ripple effects of this is just bad. I don't mean to pick on all you smokers, but when you have a state that's this bad, the cost, the human cost, healthcare cost, ripple effect cost of that is very high. For example, on the shoplifting, somebody pointed out like the percentage of shoplifting used to be like 1% loss. It's now nationwide, Josh, up to 5%. You're talking about like $1 trillion loss of the economy based upon shoplifting theft in this country right now. That's nuts. Same thing with smoking. No VP from the debate, Trump says. Trump says he's not going to pick a VP from anybody. By the way, you know why? Trump's learned his lesson. Sure, Tim Scott, Vivek's okay. I want to tell you something. Trump is never, ever going to appoint, select a VP or a cabinet secretary that he cannot trust old school style, especially like his attorney general. His attorney general will be Matthew Whitaker or Matt Gaetz. I mean, it's not ever going to be like Vivek, and Vivek gets there and shows Mr. Independence. It's never going to happen. And do you blame Trump? I don't. Ready for this? Gas him. He is a gas him. Yeah. Gavin Newsom signed another law, $20 minimum wage in California. See what happens to your prices, California. All right, Blinken. Rather than solving the world's problems, there's this big fanfare that he blew away Muddy Waters' coochie coo at a White House state, dinner on the guitar. Ooh. Pisses me off. Nikki Haley loves Hillary. The Trump folks decided to knock Nikki back a few notches, pulled up old communications where she looked at Hillary Clinton as an inspiration. And defense. And see, you got to take stuff out of context. I'm sure it was before all the scandals on Hillary, maybe, and because she's a female politician, blah, 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 but doesn't matter. Melania allegedly has renegotiated the third time her prenup agreement. Do you blame her? She's taking advantage of the circumstances. Trump's going to win. Every nominee, Josh Wentz, who led their party at this stage by that amount, became the nominee. Millie says he's taking special precautions now that he's retired, blah, blah. I want to know if Millie is getting Secret Service protection and RFK Jr. is not. Nobody's going to freaking do crap to Millie. Katie Hobbs has stepped aside as governor. Must be a health issue, like for a day or two where they step aside and give up their powers. When I first saw the story, I was hoping, is she resigning? Nope. Musk is let go lots of ex-staffers. Remember I just said before, based upon the misinformation issue. In other words, these so-called fact checkers, he's let a lot of them go. Good for him. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great weekend.